Breathe in softly. Feel the weight of your body settle into the bed. A slow exhale. A drifting. Tonight, you begin a gentle descent not into the sky, but inward. Past the thoughts, past the steady hum of your heart, past the rise and fall of your breath. There is a place beneath all of that. Warm, winding, alive. It is your gut, though tonight, we'll call it your garden. You may not feel it move, but it is never still. Inside, an unseen world flourishes. A vast and bustling community made not of people or thoughts, but of microbes. Tiny ancient beings. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, and others more numerous than the stars you cannot see through your ceiling. And they are not strangers. They are your lifelong companions. From your first breath, they have made their home within you. They settle in the folds of your intestines, along the lining of your stomach, tucked into corners your mind never visits. You carry them and they carry you. You might imagine a jungle teeming with life or a coral reef blooming in silence. But perhaps the gentlest picture is this, a garden. Not a tidy one with trimmed hedges and neat rows, but a wild one, full of movement, color, scent, and quiet balance. Roots curl, seeds sprout, decay becomes food, and food becomes life. Your microbes tend this garden without your asking. Even as you sleep, each species, each tiny being has a job. Some help digest your food. Some produce vitamins like shy alchemists spinning sunlight into nutrients. Others train your immune system, teaching it what is friend and what is foe. And some, still mysterious, seem to whisper directly to your brain. This garden isn't fenced off. It touches everything, your energy, your immune system, your mood. It speaks, it listens, and it adapts. And yet it is silent. So silent you can live for decades without noticing it. Until, perhaps now, tonight, you begin to notice. Picture them now not as germs or threats, but as quiet workers. Some live in harmony, others compete, and together they create balance. Like a forest floor that knows how to renew itself, your gut learns and shifts with every meal, every thought, every breath. You are not one being. You are many. This might sound strange at first, but there is peace in knowing that you are not alone, even inside yourself. Scientists call this world your microbiome. It means, quite simply, the community of life that lives within you. But words like community or ecosystem feel almost too large for such tiny travelers, and too small for their importance. Some of these beings have been with you since birth. Others arrived later, through food, through air, through the hands you held and the world you touched. They shift and change across the years. But some stay, loyal and constant, like the smell of the earth after rain. As you drift, imagine one of them, a single bacterium. So small that a million could rest on a pinhead. It has no eyes, no voice, no thoughts. And yet it senses. It eats, it divides, it adapts. It helps you in ways you'll never fully know. Now multiply that by trillions. This is not chaos. It is choreography. They are dancing in a way, responding to what you eat, how you sleep, how you feel. If you change, they change. If they change, you do too. And yet, you don't need to control them. You need only to care for them as you would care for a beloved garden. Offer good soil. Offer stillness. Offer patience. And in return, they will give you balance. In deep sleep, when your conscious mind slips away, your microbes carry on. They clean, they digest, they protect. You might imagine them like night gardeners, tending soil under starlight. Working not for applause, but for harmony. This chapter is not about instruction. It is about noticing. There is wonder in your belly even now. So often, we seek awe in the stars above. But tonight, we find it in the darkness within. You might feel a soft warmth low in your abdomen. That is not your imagination. That is life. Life not separate from you, but part of you. This garden has stories to tell. And if you listen with care, with stillness, with sleep in your eyes, you may begin to hear them. A rustle of microbial leaves. A whisper of health. A signal, perhaps, not to your ears but to your feelings, your hunger, your calm, your energy. You are a host, yes. But more than that, you are a home. And every home has its rhythms. Breathe now slowly. Let your garden rest. Let the soil be soft. Let the night be gentle. Because in the chapters ahead, you will meet its citizens. Not one by one, but by billions. Billions waiting to be noticed. As you rest in stillness, your thoughts drift like leaves on a slow-moving river. There is nothing you must do, nowhere you must go. Only this gentle exploration, not outward but inward, deeper now into the vast, invisible world you carry. In the folds of your belly, a universe hums. If you could shrink yourself to the size of a single cell and float like a speck along your gut's winding corridor, you'd find yourself in the thick of a crowd. Not a chaotic one, but teeming, moving with quiet purpose. Like stars in a spiral galaxy, they swirl and settle and grow. These are your microbes, and they are not few. They number in the trillions. Bacteria, mostly, each the size of a whisper, but also viruses, archaea, yeasts, and more. Together, they form an ecosystem as complex as a rainforest, as ancient as Earth itself. There are more microbial cells in your gut than human ones in your body. More than all the people who have ever lived. And their genes, what scientists call the microbiome genome, outnumber your own by 100 to 1. Your body is not a solo instrument. It is a symphony, and your microbes are the hidden section of the orchestra, playing the notes that sustain your health. Some make vitamins, K, B12, folate, delicate molecules your body cannot craft alone. Others ferment fibers you cannot digest, turning them into fuel for your gut lining. Still others patrol like silent guards, crowding out invaders before you ever know there was danger. But they are not all the same. Each strain, each species has its own shape, its own job. Some thrive on vegetables, others on meat. Some bloom with sugar, others wilt. And you are the gardener, the host, the landscape they grow upon. Picture, for a moment, one of these bacteria. It is oval-shaped, soft, invisible to your eyes. It floats through your intestines with thousands of its kind, searching, sensing, dividing. When the right food comes along, it flourishes. When the wrong one floods in too often, it fades or stirs unrest. Each type has its season. Each type plays its note. And when they are in balance, you feel it, not as a thought but as clarity. A steady energy, a settled gut, quieted mind. But when the balance breaks, when helpful strains disappear and unhelpful ones take hold, you may feel foggy, tired, anxious without knowing why. Or perhaps your digestion becomes noisy. Bloating, cramping, discomfort. These are not just symptoms. They are messages, a shift in the harmony of your inner life. And still they work. Even when you're unaware. Even now, as you lie in darkness and drift towards sleep, your microbes are busy. Some move like tiny boats, paddling through mucus rivers. Others cling to the gut lining, nestled like moss on a forest stone. Some exchange information. Yes, even bacteria talk to each other, in ways scientists are only beginning to understand. They release chemical signals like fireflies blinking in code. And the messages don't stop in your gut. These signals float into your bloodstream, where they mingle with hormones, metabolites, immune cells. Some of them make it all the way to your brain. But that is a journey for the next chapter. For now, stay here in this crowded, quiet galaxy. There is wonder in knowing you are never truly alone. Inside you, the oldest forms of life still dance. Some of them were here long before humans walked the earth. Their ancestors shaped the soil, filled the oceans with oxygen, made life possible. And now they make you possible. You are their world, and they are part of yours. Some strains appear only in childhood, like early spring blooms. Others arrive in adulthood, seeded by the foods you try, the places you go. And a few become like trees in the center of a forest, permanent residents anchoring the rest. Scientists are still mapping this universe, still learning how each species fits into the whole. Some we know well, others have no name, only patterns, glimpses under a microscope, soft hints of their presence in the data. But names are not needed to feel connection. Think of them now as lights, tiny fireflies glowing in the night of your belly, flickering in response to what you eat, to how you sleep, to what you feel. A billion tiny lives, and every one of them connected to you. Their rhythms echo yours. When you rest, they shift into nighttime work. When you wake, they prepare for another day of digestion, protection, communication. The more you nourish them, the more they nourish you. They do not ask for much, just a little fiber, a little diversity, a little time. And in return, they tend the soil of your health. You may never see them, but you will feel them. In your moods, your cravings, your resilience. In the quiet ease of a settled stomach. In the way you wake up lighter, somehow, more rested, more whole. This is the music between your heartbeats, the galaxy beneath your skin, the symphony you carry in silence. And as you breathe, you wonder, how do these silent travelers speak to the mind itself? How do they send messages from this galaxy of cells to the starscape of thought? You lie in stillness. The rhythm of your breath slows, settling like mist on a quiet morning field. Your belly rises, falls, each breath tracing an invisible path through you. Somewhere beneath the calm, a message is being sent, not through words, not through thought, but through sensation, through a soft wave carried along a hidden nerve. It begins in your gut and travels upward like a quiet stream reaching the sea. This is your vagus nerve. You may never have felt it, but it feels you. The vagus nerve is not one thread, but a bundle, like a ribbon woven from countless fibers. It begins near the base of your brain and meanders down through your neck, your chest, your abdomen, touching your heart, your lungs, your liver, your intestines. It listens. It speaks. It links you to yourself. Of all the signals it carries, most do not come from the brain. They rise toward it. From your gut to your thoughts. From your microbes to your moods. From your digestion to your decisions. It is a long, looping, living highway, one that your conscious mind rarely travels, yet one your body uses constantly. Imagine a letter written in chemicals. A soft signal released by a bacterium deep in your gut. The signal travels to a nearby nerve ending, slips quietly onto the vagus like a passenger boarding a night train. It journeys upward, slow, steady, unseen, and when it reaches your brain, something subtle happens. Your mood shifts, your appetite flickers, your stress softens. It is not magic, it is biology, but it feels like a kind of listening. The vagus is often called the wandering nerve, and its name comes from the same root as vagabond. It wanders through your body like a quiet traveler, gathering messages from all over, bringing them home to your mind. And when your gut microbes release their whispers, the vagus is the one who hears them first. This connection is ancient. Long before language, before logic, life relied on sensation. Is this safe? Is this nourishing? Should I rest? Should I act? The gut knew, and it told the brain. Even today, your body still listens this way. It doesn't always need you to understand. It only needs space to speak. Sometimes when you feel a tightness in your belly before a hard decision, or butterflies before something new, or a sudden calm while resting in sunlight, you are feeling the vagus working. It carries emotion like a breeze carries a scent, softly without force, and always both ways. The brain speaks back to the gut too. It can send stress, tightening the muscles of digestion. It can send calm, slowing the heartbeat, relaxing the breath. This dance is constant, though you rarely notice the steps. But tonight, you begin to notice. Not to change anything, just to feel the connection. As you lie here, place your hands softly on your abdomen. Feel the rise and fall. Feel the warmth within. Your vagus is listening. Scientists are only beginning to understand how microbes use this nerve. They know that certain bacteria produce neurotransmitters, the same messengers your brain uses to communicate. Serotonin, GABA, dopamine, the chemistry of calm, of pleasure, of stillness. These messages don't shout. They ripple. They pulse. They move like light through water, subtle and sure. And the vagus, that long, winding highway, receives them. It is one of the reasons breath matters. Slow breathing stimulates this nerve. It tells your body you are safe. You can rest. You can sleep. So breathe slowly now. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. You are gently activating the vagus, turning down the volume of the outside world, turning up the volume of your inner calm. There is comfort in knowing that you do not need to understand every message your body sends. You only need to allow the space for them to pass through. Just as roads carry travelers, this nerve carries awareness. And not the kind that thinks, but the kind that feels. You may never notice the exact moment when your microbes send a signal, or when your brain receives it, but your body does. It adjusts. It balances. It remembers. Like a river that bends around every stone. Your inner systems adapt without needing permission. And the vagus, that quiet courier between your gut and your mind, never stops wandering. Tonight, as you drift closer to sleep, that hidden highway continues its work. Signals pass through you like distant echoes. Soft reminders that you are whole, that your body is listening, and somewhere along that nerve, a different kind of message begins to rise. Not just sensation, but feeling, a mood, a state of being, perhaps joy, perhaps sadness, Perhaps something else entirely. Because what if the messages from your gut don't just reach your brain, but shape it? You breathe slowly, deeply. In this quiet space, your body begins to speak in ways that bypass words. There is no need for language, only rhythm, sensation, subtle shifts in feeling. Now imagine this. Inside your gut, a message is forming. It begins as a molecule, a delicate strand of serotonin, perhaps, a messenger of calm and contentment. You may think of serotonin as something that lives only in the brain. But in truth, most of it, almost 90%, is made in your gut. Not by your cells alone, but in cooperation with your microbes. They do not speak with mouths or thoughts. Instead, they release chemicals, tiny notes in a biochemical melody. Each note designed to reach a certain part of you, to soothe, to stir, to signal. This is the language of your gut. It is a language of balance, of feeling hungry or full, alert or drowsy, at ease or on edge. And like all languages, it is learned through experience. Picture a cluster of microbes digesting a fiber-rich meal. As they feast, they release byproducts, short-chain fatty acids, neurotransmitters, vitamins. Some of these help heal your gut lining. Some lower inflammation. Some travel through your bloodstream and reach your brain, shaping how you feel, shaping how you are. This is no metaphor. Your emotions are not just in your head. They rise from your belly, too. When you feel anxious, your gut may churn. But when your gut is inflamed or unbalanced, your mood may follow. The dialogue moves both ways. Dopamine, another mood messenger, is also made in your gut, linked to motivation, pleasure, focus. Your microbes help produce the raw materials, assembling them with the same care as an artist choosing color. And then there's GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid, a molecule known to calm the nervous system. Some gut bacteria create it. It floats upward, quieting overactive circuits in the brain, so you feel more at peace, more at rest. All of this is happening now, even as you lie here with your eyes closed, letting sleep come closer. This inner language isn't spoken, it's felt. You know it when your stomach feels warm after a nourishing meal, or when a sudden wave of ease flows through you without explanation. That is the gut speaking, not in sentences, but in states of being. Even cravings may be part of the conversation. Some bacteria flourish on sugar, others on fiber. When they're abundant, they may nudge your body to seek out what they need. A quiet microbial whisper, more of that, please. But you are not a puppet. You are a partner. Your choices shape your microbiome, and your microbiome shapes your inner world. This is the nature of conversation. Two sides listening and responding. Your gut speaks in chemical verses, and your brain listens with the silence between thoughts. What you eat is part of the dialogue, too. The colors, textures, and compounds in food offer information, not just fuel. Polyphenol in berries, fermented foods like yogurt or kimchi, fibers from vegetables. These are not just nutrients. They are words your gut understands. A ripe tomato may become serotonin. A slice of sourdough may spark GABA. A spoonful of sauerkraut may deliver new voices, new microbial residents to join the conversation. Your inner world responds gently, gradually, like a forest shifting with the season. And emotions, too, become part of the feedback. When you feel stress, your gut tightens. When you feel calm, digestion flows freely. You've felt this before. On days when your stomach clenches without reason, or when comfort food truly feels like comfort. But it isn't just the food. It's the memory, the association. Your gut remembers. There's a term some scientists use, the gut-brain axis. A pathway of communication that never stops. Signals go up, signals go down. A dialogue without words. But what if we stepped beyond the term? What if we thought of it, instead, as a friendship? One that deepens with care and suffers when ignored. Tonight, as you lie in this stillness, that friendship is thriving. Every breath you take stimulates the vagus. Every heartbeat delivers new signals. Every microbe adds a note to the chorus of you. You are not a single voice. You are a harmony. and harmony can be restored again and again. If there has been imbalance, know this, your gut is forgiving. With time, with gentle choices, with rest, the conversation can soften. The language can relearn itself. Your microbes are patient. Your body remembers how to feel safe. All you need is stillness, time, and a willingness to listen. Breathe again, deep and slow. Feel your belly rise. Feel your belly fall. That is your gut speaking. That is you answering. And as your microbes hum in chemical rhythm, another question begins to form, one your body has known long before thought began. Your body rests in darkness now, but somewhere beneath the quiet, your cells still listen. Your breath moves gently. Your mind softens its edges, but memories, emotions leave their echoes deeper down, not only in your brain, but in your belly. Fear, too, finds its way there. We think of fear as something that starts in the mind, a thought, a reaction, a spike of anxiety. But long before the mind names it, the body feels it. And your gut, your warm, living center, is often the first to know. You felt it, haven't you? A twisting sensation before bad news. A clenching just before you speak aloud. The sinking of your stomach when something beloved slips away. These aren't just metaphors. They are messages, real, physical responses. Your gut, filled with life and language, feels the ripple of fear like water feels wind. And it responds. When your body senses danger, real or imagined, it shifts. Blood moves away from digestion toward muscles and lungs. Your gut slows its work. Muscles tense. Microbes retreat, change, or go silent. Your internal chemistry becomes one of defense. This is not a flaw. It's ancient. It's wise. It's part of how your body protects you. But sometimes fear lingers. Not the sharp kind, but the low, constant hum of modern worry. Deadlines, decisions, disconnection. And that hum begins to confuse the gut. It stays alert. It forgets to rest. Digestion falters. Microbial diversity begins to shift. Some strains linked to calmness fade, while others associated with inflammation bloom. This is the loop. The fear feeds the gut. The gut, in turn, feeds the fear. And yet, you are not stuck. The loop can be broken. Gently, patiently. It begins with awareness. As you lie here, feel the center of your belly. Not just its surface, but its depth. Imagine a soft sphere of warmth there. Not heat, but presence. A living place within you. A place that holds more than food. It holds emotion, memory, chemistry. Let that place loosen now. Not by force, but by listening. Your microbes are not your enemies. Even under stress, they are trying to help. Some shift to become more alert. Some trigger immune responses just in case. Some begin sending signals to the brain. Something isn't right. Stay alert. Be ready. They don't know if the danger is real. They only know what your body tells them. But here's the gift. When you send calm, they calm too. That breath you just took, slow, quiet, gentle, reaches them. It tells the vagus nerve all is well. The vagus passes it on to the gut. The gut tells the microbes. And the cycle begins to unwind. There are other ways to soften the loop too. Touch, nature, stillness, even certain foods, fermented ones rich in probiotic cultures, can bring helpful strains that lower the body's alarm system. And then there's rhythm, sleep, laughter, connection. Each of these reminds your gut that it is safe, that it can return to rest. This chapter is not about silencing fear. It's about understanding its echo. Sometimes your gut reacts not to the present moment, but to memory. Old stress stored in your tissues still humming quietly. The gut remembers, but it also forgives. There are studies that show how trauma can alter the microbiome and how healing can restore it. Your microbes are not fixed. They change as you do. And so, if you felt the long ache of anxiety in your belly, know this. Healing is possible. Balance returns. The soil of your inner garden can be renewed. You are not broken. You are adaptive. And adaptation is your nature. Right now, in the darkness of this room, your microbes are responding. To your breath. To your slowing heart. To the messages that safety has returned. Even if just for this moment. Even if just for this night. The loop unwinds. Fear softens. Digestion stirs gently back to life. You don't need to do anything more. Just rest. Just listen. And know that the very act of listening is a form of healing. The gut has protected you all your life. Now it welcomes your attention, your kindness, your quiet company. And as your microbes adjust, as your inner world realigns, A new question begins to bloom. Your body lies still. The night surrounds you like warm earth, quiet and soft, holding space for rest. Inside your gut, your garden is awake. Not in urgency, but in rhythm. The cells of your digestive system never sleep quite like you do. They stir gently, cleaning, sorting, signaling, preparing. And your microbes, those silent caretakers of health, continue their work in the dark. They do not ask for much, but they do ask for nourishment. Not just calories, not just fullness, but nourishment, the kind that feeds life itself. Your inner ecosystem thrives on variety, a rainbow of nutrients, each color carrying its own message. Think of a plate filled with plants. Greens from leafy kale, reds from beets or berries, orange from squash, purple from cabbage. Each shade offers a different set of fibers, polyphenol, and compounds. To you, they are food. To your microbes, they are language. Fibers pass through your body undigested. But to your microbes, they are treasure, fuel, fertilizer, the feast from which balance grows. These are prebiotics, not bacteria themselves, but the foods that help them flourish. Your friendly microbes love them. And when well-fed, they give back. They produce short-chain fatty acids, like butyrate, a tiny molecule that soothes inflammation, nourishes the gut lining, and even calms the nervous system. This is the gift of reciprocity. You feed them, and they feed you in return. Then there are the probiotics, living bacteria found in fermented foods. Yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, kombucha. Each bite brings not just flavor, but new life. These visitors may stay for a while, or simply pass through, leaving behind lessons, signals, and stories for your permanent residence. Eating fermented foods is like inviting new musicians to play in your orchestra. They don't need to stay forever. Sometimes their presence alone improves the harmony. And yet, nourishment is not only about food. It's about rhythm, time, repetition. Your microbes love predictability. When meals arrive at regular hours, when sleep comes gently each night, when stress is softened by breath and presence, they respond. The garden flourishes not with force, but with steady, loving attention. Even small changes matter. One more serving of vegetables, one less rush to eat in stress, a sip of something fermented, a pause before bed. These moments add up, not just in nutrients, but in signals of safety, care, and connection. Your microbes also respond to your environment. The soil on your hands after touching the earth, the scent of plants, the air you breathe in a forest, even the microbes in the people you hug. Your ecosystem is porous, dynamic, alive. It is not a closed loop. It's a web of relationships. And like any relationship, it grows through tending. Imagine your gut as a real garden now. The lining of your intestines is the soil. Your microbes, the seeds. Fibers are sunlight. Fermented foods are rain. Stillness is warmth. And you are the caretaker. You do not need to fix anything. You need only to nourish. And nourishment can be simple. A spoonful of oats, a bite of banana, a handful of nuts, a bowl of lentils, a sprinkle of spices, turmeric, cinnamon, ginger, each a tiny offering to your inner world. And when that world feels fed, your whole being responds. You feel clearer, more grounded, less reactive, more at home in your own skin. Because when your microbes are nourished, your nervous system relaxes, inflammation eases, mood lifts, energy steadies, and the healing that begins in the gut flows outward to the rest of you. But remember, this is not about perfection. Not every meal will be ideal. Not every day will be calm. Your garden is resilient. It weathers storms. It rebounds. The act of feeding it well even once is an act of kindness. And kindness, like nutrients, ripples inward. So tonight, as your body lies quiet, you can picture it. The food you've eaten today becoming messages. Apples offering pectin, greens sharing folate, beans giving fermentable fiber to the tiny lives inside you. And if the meals were hurried or sparse, still there is tomorrow. There is always tomorrow. The garden waits, not in judgment, but in patience. Even now as you sleep, your gut is preparing for what comes next. Storing, repairing, responding. Every moment of rest is nourishment, too. So breathe deeply. Feel your belly rise. Feel it soften. And listen, not with ears, but with awareness. Your body is ready to receive care. It always has been. And soon you'll remember the first time it ever did. The first breath, the first touch. The very beginning of your microbial story. Before you knew yourself, before you had a name or a word or a thought, your body already held a world. Your first breath marked the beginning of your own biology. But before that, in the soft warmth of birth, you were not alone. You were carried, you were nourished, and you were seated. As you passed through the birth canal, through the narrow tunnel between womb and world, you were bathed in microbes. Bacteria from your mother's body surrounded you, touched your skin, entered your mouth, filled your lungs. These were not intruders. They were your first companions. They were the gardeners of your future health. For 9 months, you grew in near-sterile comfort, wrapped in amniotic fluid, shielded by a placenta. And then, in a single moment, you were given an entire ecosystem, skin to skin, cheek to breast, mouth to nipple. Every breath you took, every touch you received, was an offering. Your mother's milk came not just with calories, but with microbes, antibodies, and sugars designed to feed them. It was a perfect package, a communication between generations. Some sugars in breast milk can't even be digested by babies. They exist solely to feed the beneficial microbes in the gut. This is nature's design, to nourish not just the child, but the child's inner world. And so it began. Your microbiome started to grow, slowly, delicately, like roots in soft soil. Every person who held you, every surface you touched, added a new voice to the chorus. Some would stay, some would pass through, but all of them played a part. Even the air in the room, even the dust in the light. Over time, your microbial landscape shifted and expanded. Your gut filled with complexity, different strains rising like early wildflowers. Some loved milk, others waited for solids. Each stage of life brought change. A bite of banana, piece of toast, a spoonful of yogurt. These were not just tastes to explore. They were invitations to new microbes, new conversations within. And your immune system learned alongside them, not by fighting, but by recognizing, by watching how these visitors behaved, by remembering, this one is friend, that one is helper, that one we keep an eye on. This is how your body was trained, not in a classroom, but in a garden. The microbes helped build your immune defenses. They taught your system when to react, and more importantly, when not to. Balance was the lesson. Tolerance was the wisdom. And so, your biology grew in layers. Microbial, cellular, emotional, all braided together. Even your brain, small and soft and still forming, was touched by these messages. The early microbes you carried shaped the way you would later feel stress, absorb nutrients, and interpret the world. Not consciously, not directly, but subtly, like shadows shifting beneath sunlight. And if your birth came through a different path, a surgical one, your microbial story is simply different. Not lesser, just unique. Your first companions may have come from skin, from the hospital air, from those who held you close. And with time, through milk, through food, through touch, your inner world bloomed just the same. This is the nature of life. It adapts, it welcomes, it grows. And even now, those early strains may still live within you, tucked deep in the folds of your intestines. Old friends quietly tending the soil of your health. They are part of your story, not separate, not forgotten, but still with you, in every breath, in every bite, in every moment of rest. You were born not alone, but together, and that togetherness continues. So as you drift into deeper sleep, as your body remembers its own beginning, you may wonder, if these microbes shaped you from the start, could they still shape how you think, how you feel? Sleep is not silence. It is listening. And within you now, in the quiet curves of your belly, something is thinking without thoughts, not with language, not with logic, but with chemistry. The microbes that live inside you, millions, billions, trillions, do not dream, but their signals, their patterns, their rhythms may shape yours. This is not fantasy. This is the strange, unfolding truth of how tiny lives influence a human mind. Scientists once thought the gut was simple, a tube, a system, a digestive engine. but they now call it your second brain. And this brain is not made of thought, but of sensation, instinct, and influence. You felt it before, a craving that appears without hunger, a sudden ease in the presence of comfort food, a mood that lifts unexpectedly after a meal. These experiences are not always your own. Sometimes they are whispers from the minds inside your gut. Let's pause there. Minds may feel like the wrong word, but what is a mind if not a source of influence? A place where signals are gathered and decisions begin to form? Your microbes don't have brains. They don't know you by name, but they do know what keeps them alive. They know which foods help them flourish, and they are not afraid to nudge you toward them. They can shape your appetite, modulate your hormones, change your reward pathways. Some bacteria produce dopamine precursors, molecules that, once converted in the brain, spark desire, pleasure, and motivation. Some increase serotonin levels. Some influence the receptors for GABA, that soft chemical of calm. You may never feel them directly, but you may feel the result. A softness in mood, a spike in energy, a leaning toward sweetness or salt. This is not control. It is suggestion. Imagine a conversation, but instead of words, there are shifts in sensation. You may think, I want chocolate, but beneath that thought, a network of bacteria, thriving on sugar, may have whispered it first. This does not mean your thoughts are not your own, but perhaps they are not yours alone. Your brain is not sealed off from your body. It is porous, influenced by blood, by hormones, by nerve signals, and yes, by microbes. They are part of the extended self, not separate passengers, but co-authors of your mood. Some scientists now call this the microbial self, not to take away your identity, but to expand it, to remind us that I is not always one voice. Sometimes, I is a choir, and this choir responds to what you eat, how you sleep, who you touch, how you feel. When you are under stress, microbial diversity may shrink. When you are calm, friendly strains may bloom. It's a feedback loop, not a puppet show, not command but cooperation. Even your memory may be touched by them. Some gut bacteria influence the production of BDNF, protein vital for brain plasticity, learning, adapting, remembering. Your microbes do not remember your past, but they can shape how easily you do. And the relationship may go deeper still. In mice, certain strains of gut bacteria have been shown to reduce anxiety behaviors, making the animals explore more, freeze less, even become more social. When these microbes are removed, the behaviors change. When reintroduced, they return. We are not mice, but we are connected by biology, and our microbes are not so different. This leads to a gentle question. If your mood shifts, if your choices bend, if your thoughts soften or tighten, could part of that be the echo of microbes, doing what they've always done, surviving, thriving, communicating? So, then your mental landscape is not fixed, can change as they do, can shift, grow, heal. You are not at the mercy of these tiny minds. You are in relationship with them, and like any relationship, this one thrives on care. Feed your microbiome, and you may feed your focus. Tend to your gut, and you may feel steadier in yourself. This is not a promise. It is a possibility, and a tender one, because the more we understand this connection, the more compassion we may have for our own moods, our own cravings, our own changes of heart. They may not always come from willpower. They may come from whispers, from cells too small to see, but too important to ignore. You do not need to control them. You need only to listen, and listening begins in stillness. So rest here in the quiet. Breathe slowly. Let your belly rise and fall. Know that inside you, thought and biology intertwine, that the lightness you feel after a meal, or the calm you find in ritual, may come not just from you, but from the tiny beings who have walked this life with you since birth. And in the quiet, as you rest beside them, another question rises. There is a kind of healing that does not begin in pills or plans or schedules. It begins in noticing, in allowing, in listening. Right now, your body is doing something miraculous. It is repairing itself, quietly, patiently, without your instruction. Cells are sorting, rebuilding, sweeping away the day's debris. Hormones shift, signals soften, microbes settle into their nighttime rhythm, some resting, some rising, and you are simply lying here, still and soft, wrapped in breath. Healing is not always loud. It does not always announce itself. Sometimes it happens, like leaves falling, one by one, until the tree is bare and ready again. In this moment, your gut is listening to you, and it is asking you to listen back. Not with judgment, not with urgency, but with the kind of attention you would offer to someone you love. You may have spent years tuning out the signals of your body, swallowing pain, ignoring tension, rushing past fatigue. We all do this. We live in a world that rewards speed, not stillness. But healing asks something different. It asks you to slow down, to tune in, to remember what your body has always known. Tonight, your body is restoring. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Inflammation is lowering. Cells are responding to microbial cues. Your gut lining, just a few millimeters thick, is renewing itself. And your microbes, some of them are producing butyrate, a molecule that protects this lining, soothes inflammation, and supports immunity. You are not doing this consciously. You don't need to. Your body remembers how to heal. It was built for it. But attention can help. Not the kind that fixes, the kind that witnesses. Think of a friend who listens without interrupting, without offering solutions. They just sit beside you, present. This is the kind of listening your body longs for. Can you offer it now? Can you lie in the dark and simply feel what is happening within? The rise of your chest, the warmth of your belly, the slight tingle in your limbs. As nerves shift from doing to resting, the vagus nerve hums gently. It tells your organs, you are safe. You can soften. This is not the kind of safety that depends on everything going right. It is the kind of safety that lives in this breath, this moment, regardless of what came before. You may have felt out of balance. You may have ignored your body for too long. You may have fed it stress, more often than nourishment, and still, it responds with care. It responds with healing. It responds with the quiet grace of something that wants to survive. Healing isn't perfect. It's not a line. It's a spiral, with steps forward, steps back, steps sideways. But each night you rest, you feed the process. Each moment you listen, you remind your body that it matters. And when your body feels seen, it becomes a better place to live. This is not poetic thinking. It is biological truth. Studies show that people who practice awareness of the body, who tune into breath and sensation, have lower levels of inflammation, more microbial diversity, stronger immunity, calmer minds, because awareness isn't just mental, it is physiological. It changes the chemistry of who you are. And now, in this stillness, you are part of that change. You are not passive. You are a participant in your own restoration. Listen, there may be nothing dramatic to hear. No voice, no message, just the soft rhythm of a system returning to balance. The gut hums, the brain softens, the microbes shift and stir, responding to the chemistry of calm. You are not alone in your body. You never were. And healing, like life, is a collective act. Each system, immune, digestive, neural, works not in isolation, but in concert, and sleep is their meeting ground. So as your consciousness sinks deeper, as your thoughts dissolve into quiet, let yourself believe this. You do not need to try harder. You need only to allow. Let your garden rest. Let the inner forest go dark and still. Let the tiny tenders of your health continue their quiet work. And as they do, you may wonder, night deepens. The world outside your window has quieted, and so has your mind. Your breath is slow. Your limbs are soft. Sleep hovers near, not like a switch, but like a tide, slowly rising. And inside you, a different kind of night unfolds. Your gut, the inner forest, does not sleep as you do. Its rhythms shift. Its tasks change. Its ecosystem leans into restoration. Just as the forest under starlight pulses with life unseen, so too does your microbiome stir beneath the stillness of your body. Some microbes rest, curling into dormancy like leaves drawing inward. Others wake, their time of activity just beginning. They work without fanfare, without thought, but with purpose. Cleaning, processing, repairing. They help break down the food you ate hours ago, releasing the last traces of nutrients. They communicate with immune cells, some calming inflammation, some rehearsing quiet defense. They reinforce the gut barrier, so fragile and yet so essential, just a few cells thick, protecting your body from the outside world. Even while you dream, and they send messages. Tiny molecules, metabolites, neurotransmitters, hormones, float through your bloodstream, whispering to organs, to tissues, to the brain. This isn't chaos. It's choreography. Your inner forest has been practicing this dance for thousands of generations. It knows the steps. It moves to the rhythm of your circadian clock, the ancient beat that lives in every cell. Melatonin rises, the hormone of darkness, of letting go, and with it the microbiome shifts. Different strains bloom at night, just as nocturnal creatures stir in a forest. Some that are dormant by day awaken now. They produce compounds that nourish your gut lining, that affect mood, that fine-tune immunity. Others clean, breaking down toxins, recycling metabolic waste, tidying up the day's internal debris. This is the silent maintenance of life. And as it happens, you lie still, held in the cradle of your breath. Each inhale brings in not just air, but the message that you are safe. Each exhale releases what is no longer needed. Carbon dioxide, yes, but also tension, thought, the grip of the day. And deep inside, your forest hears this too. Some microbes are even sensitive to stress hormones. When cortisol is high, they shrink back. When peace returns, they reemerge. It's as if they too respond to emotion, in their own language, through their own quiet wisdom. Tonight, your cortisol is low. Your body is at ease, and your microbes are content. They are not thinking creatures. They do not hope or fear, but they sense. They adapt. They respond. And together, they form the roots of your well-being. Imagine them now, microscopic beings gliding through mucus, attaching to the gut lining, sending chemical signals, forming communities, shifting with breath and stillness. You do not need to guide them. They know their way, like trees that drop leaves in autumn, or stars that rise in turn. Your inner world follows ancient cues. You no longer need to understand. This is the power of surrender, not as weakness, but as wisdom, letting the body do what it does best. When the thinking mind steps aside, your microbes speak to your brain even now. They shape your dreams, in ways science is only beginning to understand. They may influence memory, emotional tone, how you wake tomorrow. They don't control, but they suggest. And the brain listens. This is the final whisper of the gut-brain connection. Not urgency, not instruction, just presence. And in this presence, you are safe, whole, held. Let yourself drift now. Let your inner forest grow dark and luminous. Let the tenders of your health, those unseen gardeners, continue their quiet choreography. You do not need to know the names of each microbe. You do not need to feel their movements. You only need to rest, to trust, to let the forest work. Your body is not just flesh and thought. It is home, to you, to them, to the long, unbroken story of life itself. And in this moment, the story continues, softly, slowly, without words, just rhythm, just breath, just the sleep of one great being, held together, by countless small ones. Good night to the world within you. Good night to the soil and stars of your belly. Good night to the whispers within.